Hi people and hello my Chili Con Carnage crew, it is Chili here from Live Listen Race, and I'm bringing you a special episode in regards to really Smash Mouth, because the news of Steve Harwell's passing is a bit sudden to some, I guess, who were out of the know, and it just is an unfortunate piece of news to receive. But rather than go on about him in an obituary type of study, I just want to say, let's enjoy the music that he had on offer for us, and enjoy those times from the 90s and I guess early 2000s, and for a lot of us anyway, our childhood, because I want to relive those good times, those really good times with music, because Smash Mouth were very unique during a time of unique music. You know, you go back and look at the 90s and there's lots of bands out there that were very weird, especially in the 90s. You know, I swear the 90s was just this era of weird eclectic music that was just bubbling out artists every time, left, right and centre. And then Smash Mouth is just appearing somewhere around about 1997 or whatever. And I know that Todd McFarlane, the creator of Spawn Comics, once said that Korn were the Doors of the 90s. But really, Smash Mouth is the personified Doors of the 90s. They captured that sound, in particular with the keyboard sections. You know, they brought those instruments that the Doors would have used in their recordings and brought them in for the 90s era, and updated with some more poppy, catchy type of tunes and writing, and it really paid off. I don't know how else to say it, because they wrote some incredibly awesome, catchy songs, and it's hard to escape some of these tunes. Over the course of their career, they would release 6 albums, with their first album being released in 1997, and I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm going to go for it. Is it Fush Yu Mang? I'm not entirely sure. But of course, there were some incredible songs on offer here. For example, Walking on the Sun, massively catchy tune, and of course some other ones like Beer Goggles, Flow, as well as Why Can't We Be Friends, cover song of course. And yeah, it really obviously put them on the map. You know, there's some other tunes in there that weren't too bad. I was listening to the record. I haven't actually played that thing in full for ages, but I was playing it, just recently and just reliving those vibes, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But of course, their big breakthrough would be 1999's Astro Lounge. And I remember seeing this album all the time at the library. There must have been 3 copies, because it was always just being borrowed. It was always been taken. This thing was in high demand anyway, and this is probably a few years after its release. It was always in high demand. And the biggest one of it all is, All Star, which of course would appear on the Shrek soundtrack a bit later on. But we shouldn't really jump ahead here, because there was also another song that had another appearance in a movie as well, and I'm just trying to recall it. It's I'm a Believer, which was a recording of the Monkees, which would appear on their next album as well, Smash Mouth, the self-titled one, in 2001. I think that was on, I want to say it's Austin Powers, probably the first one, maybe the second one, The Spy Who Shagged Me. Anyway, but that would be, of course, their thing. They would appear on a lot of soundtracks, But going back quickly to Astro Lounge, there's a lot of tunes here. A pretty solid album, very, very pop orientated, of course. Then The Morning Comes was another song, Roadman, Digging Your Scene, Who's There. But yeah, definitely All Star was that big track, of course. Can't Get Enough of You Baby was again re-released for the album, so it could, really break into the charts, I guess, a lot more. So yeah, of course, Astro Lounge was a massively successful album for the band. Saw them really become that household name. Smash Mouth released 2001, as I said, the self-titled album. A few other tracks that weren't too bad, but I'm a Believer, of course, the big one there. Once again, would have a recording of All Star on this one, or appears to be, and Walking on the Sun. So, digging back into their previous songs here, but that's kind of how it is. Pacific Coast Party, decent track as well. So, yeah, when you go past here, though, it kind of gets a bit murky, because Get the Picture was released 2 years after that in 2003, and I believe it had some success with songs such as Hang On and Hot. There were probably a few other songs here that I might be just brushing off very quickly because I don't really recall it. I wasn't listening to Smash Mouth. I felt their time in the sun had unfortunately passed us. And I feel like the record company also felt that way as well because it didn't really chart as well as probably one would expect. And this will be followed up 2 years later with the All-Star Smash Hits album, which it would represent a bit of a dire situation in a band's history, sometimes showing, things aren't going as well as they would hope. Let's try and cash in, especially around about these times. And their next album follow-up would be Magic. I don't know the year it came out, but I don't know about it because, by this time I really had forgotten about Smash Mouth altogether. So I don't know the last 2 albums. I don't think I've heard any of the songs off it. Magic, as I said, was the next one they would release. There seems to be the most popular track, Don't You Forget About Me, which was a cover, of course. And, Live to Love Another Day, Magic. Got some decent counts going on to it. I'm just having a look here. And The Gift of Rock, which I believe was the last one they released in 2012. So didn't really go very well, that last one there. But that is, I guess, Smash Mouth. They were definitely a band of the era, the late 90s and early 2000s, enjoying monumental success. And they have a lot of stories, I guess, post this era. Because, people would say they're a one-hit wonder band. No, they're not. I think they had 3 hits. Obviously All-Star was the big one. But, Walking on the Sun and I'm a Believer as well were pretty big back in the day, as well as a few other tracks. So, I wouldn't really describe them as a one-hit wonder. But the thing is, they kind of were. I guess it's hard to describe. Because I remember seeing an article a couple of years ago, and it was basically saying, how much would it cost you to get Smash Mouth at your party? And yes, Smash Mouth were doing events because, they weren't exactly the name that they once were. And they were saying, if you want us to perform at your corporate event or party or whatever, it would cost you, I think at the time it was like $25,000 to $40,000 to do a private concert. And it seems rather unique to do such things. Be kind of cool, wouldn't it? If you were having a party, hey, I've got Smash Mouth performing at my party, you want to come along? Yeah, of course, I want to see Smash Mouth, that's cool. That is pretty damn cool. So, it's odd things that happened to the band afterwards. I'm not going to go into depth about the last couple of years, which were rather tragic, but, unfortunately, when it comes to the group, they had this massive surge of success in the early years, which just didn't really go forward after that. Their pop rock orientated kind of thing, ska rock, was enjoyable. Their sounds were absolutely enthralling, very unique, very one of a kind, I guess, for its era. And I don't think we're going to see a band quite like them. So everyone, I just want to say, let's get All-Star replaying. Let's play All-Star, because unfortunately with Steve's passing, it is just before All-Star has reached 1 billion streams on Spotify. It currently sits on 954 million. It would be great to, I guess, see a send-off for Steve to get All-Star raised above that 1 billion mark, because it is a great song. It really is. It's that earworm that you're not going to forget anytime soon. But let's see if we can get the extra 50 million plays on All Star to push it above the 1 billion mark, because that would be a great way to send off this musician, I should say. So here is to Astro Lounge, here is to Smash Mouth, and Steve, while you're gone, you won't be forgotten. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Live Listen Erased. And if you have enjoyed this episode, make sure you share it with all your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our Chili Con Carnage crew so you can get notified for all the future videos that we put out, as we put out videos every Friday. Also, we are on Discord, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter over at Live Listen Erased, so make sure to tune in over there. And don't forget to like this video so that our manager can stay very happy.